Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, Connecting with the Community. Hi, I'm your host, Napoleon Bell, and we've got two great segments that are coming up. Our first segment, we're actually going on location to the Human Resources Office and speaking with the director, Lindsay Racy. Great conversation on how to get involved, to get started on your career here at the Sheriff's Office. And then second, we'll be right here with two of the deputies from the Training Academy who are going to be speaking about those rigors that our new recruits go through to start their career as a deputy. Stay tuned.
When I got out of the military, I sought that brotherhood again, that pride. In the Sheriff's Office, there's no greater uniform out there.
It's a great honor to put this uniform on every day. I wear it with pride.
You won't find a career that's more challenging, that's more rewarding.
Hello and welcome. We are here at the James A. Carnes building here at 410 South High, and we've had the great opportunity today to speak with the Human Resources Director. So welcome, Ms. Lindsay Racy.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so glad to have you here and to be out to speak with you in regards to the hiring process for civilian employees and deputies. So let me ask you this, in regards to onboarding here with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, is hiring done year-round?
Right. With over 1,100 positions, we have a constant need to fill vacancies. Those vacancies are going to occur in the deputy classification as well as our civilian classifications.
Okay, so 1,100 employees. So, well, and let me just dig in that a little bit. What's the turnaround like, or not turnaround, but how often and how many does the Franklin County Sheriff's Office hire in an average year?
It's really dependent on the year. Recently, we've had an expansion of the office, and so we've been constantly hiring at large numbers, probably numbers that weren't seen years before that. Recently, we've had several deputy classes. We've been running 2 classes a year. This is the first year that we'll probably only have 1. And so we're planning for an influx of deputies next year as well.
So we've got positions available. And so to the viewing audience out there, we want to make sure that they apply.
Right. So if anyone's interested, our background removal standards, our guidelines are enclosed on our website, and then also any available positions that someone can apply for and how to test for those positions. All of that information is included on the Sheriff's Office website. Excellent.
Well, let's talk a little bit about then the process of coming on board with the Sheriff's Office as a civilian. What do they need to do? You say you can apply online, but then what happens?
The first step is for them to apply, make sure they meet the minimum qualifications. Applications that are completed and accurate are reviewed for minimum qualifications, and depending on what the criteria for those positions are at the time, employees or potential employees will be scheduled for pre-employment examinations, something like a typing test if that's required. If the test requires some type of other testing. For instance, we have a records officer position that we provide a paper test to at the time of the interview. We have jail tours that are associated with our positions that are going to enter the jail, and so we'll schedule applicants for those as needed. And then minimally qualified applicants will be interviewed.
Okay, so, and often people think of the civilian employee as far as somebody working in the office here at 410, but also there's positions that are in the jail that civilians are in there doing work also then.
Right, we have positions in the jail, we have positions that work in our investigations, our patrol bureau. Really, once you're in the Sheriff's Office, there's a wide variety of positions that become available to you. Most of our positions are covered under a collective bargaining agreement, and so employees who have been here for a certain period of time will then qualify for bidding rights, or will be able to successfully bid into another position within the Sheriff's Office. So folks who are here for a whole career will have the opportunity to do a lot of different things.
Wow, so a lot of flexibility in what you can do. That's great to hear, because all too often, people tend to get stuck in a rut and with this working with the sheriff's office, you're able to then move around and get some another feel for the entire sheriff's office.
We even have civilians who are interested in becoming deputies who start out as civilians. They may wait a couple years to test for a deputy position and then go through the process, and some folks come in with the intention of immediately getting into the deputy process, and we've had success with that.
Yeah, so get your feet wet and then go on to being a deputy. So then let's transition to that, the process for deputy. What all is that involved? Is it more involved than the civilian piece, or what?
The deputy process starts out with applicants taking the National Testing Network pre-employment examination, and then their test scores are submitted to the sheriff's office. Based on the need for a PAT, which is our physical abilities test, we will schedule those periodically throughout the year, and applicants who have passed the pre-employment written exam with NTN are then scheduled for the physical abilities test. After the physical abilities test, if someone successfully passes that, they're scheduled for an interview. And the deputy application process takes about 6 months. It can be faster or slower depending on how many folks are in the process. But there will be a couple interviews at least. One will include a home interview if someone gets to that point in the process. And they'll have an extensive background done, which includes records checks and lie detector examinations, and background removal standards will be applied to those.
So are there any automatic disqualifiers, such as the applicant has 10 speeding tickets, or whatever that might be? Are there some automatic ones like, okay, if you do this, I'm sorry, you can't?
There are automatic disqualifiers. Of course, we take into consideration the facts and circumstances, and every applicant has the opportunity to explain those. But recent drug use is going to disqualify someone. A felony conviction or a recent criminal conviction that involves theft or those crimes of dishonesty, those are going to be issues for applicants. What we're looking for is folks who are living their lives in a way that's consistent with being involved in law enforcement.
Okay. So those are automatic disqualifiers, and you talk about physical and the testing there. What does a deputy or have to? What type of physical abilities? What is part of that testing? Is it 100 push-ups? I mean, can I pass the test? Is what I want to know.
Well, the initial test with the physical abilities test is a job simulation test.
Okay.
And so it's a minimum standard, and if someone passes that minimum standard, then they move on in the process. Now, if they get to a conditional offer phase, we're going to be a little bit more extensive in our analysis to make sure they are physically and psychologically fit to perform those duties. So they'll have a psychological evaluation and a fitness examination with a doctor, where they're going to look at blood pressure and whether they have pre-existing conditions that are going to prevent them from being able to perform the job. Of course, those are all done in accordance with conditional offer and whatever the applicable laws are.
Okay. So I wanted to find out, and I'm not sure if I asked this already, but with the deputy position, are you hiring year-round, or is this, you say this is twice a year?
We've had 2 classes per year for the last couple years. This year is the first year we've only had 1. That's because we had some expansion the last several years. And moving forward, we'll have to assess whether we'll have 1 or 2 classes. It depends on our vacancies. But right now, we're creating a pool of applicants to pull from for our class next year.
Okay, so right now, we're hiring.
Correct.
We're hiring deputies and we're hiring civilians. And I think just recently there's a class of dispatchers that are going through their training.
Right, we hired 6 dispatchers last month, and they're doing well in their training. We also create a pool of dispatchers using the National Testing Network as well. So folks who are interested will see that information on our webpage and be able to go to the National Testing Network and apply and then submit their scores to the Sheriff's Office.
Okay, so even with the dispatchers, you have to take the NTN exam, but as far as a regular civilian, you you don't have to take the NTN, or does everyone take the NTN?
No, the NTN, the National Testing Network, has job-related exams. So Deputy in Corrections, 911 Dispatcher, those are two different exams. You would apply through two different means.
Okay, okay. Well, good stuff. Is there anything that we should let the viewing audience know about coming on to the Sheriff's Office? I mean, on the internet, where do they go? Should they give you a call? Says, hey, I'm really interested. Is there the old paper applications? How do they go about that?
So they go to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office website. There's an info tab at the top, and under that is employment. That'll take you to our employment page, and then you'll click on view available jobs, and you'll be able to see what's currently available. If you want more information on how to test, the National Testing Network website, all that information is there as well. And the most important thing is that if they want to work at the Sheriff's Office, we have positions available, and they just need to go through the process.
All right. Well, you know what to do. Make sure you go to that website and apply, because there's a lot of jobs right here at the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. Well, we're back in the studio, and we thank so much to our Human Resources Director, Lindsay Racy, and she did such a great job. And talking about the first part of the program, about how we get employees and how, whether it be a deputy or civilians, coming on board. So thanks to her so much. But now we're in the studio, and we're on the other part of this. When they go to the academy, to the training academy, what happens there? So I have next to me Lieutenant Colsarp. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
And then next to him is Deputy Jackson. Welcome you to the program.
Thank you, sir.
So glad to have both of you here, and we're looking forward to learning more about what happens in the training academy with the recruits that come through there. But first of all, let me ask you this. I've been out to the training academy, and I don't know how many people get to go out there, but it looks fairly new. How old is the academy?
Yeah, the main building is only, it was completed for in-service in December of 2014. We have a shooting range that is in great shape, and that's actually about 25 years old itself. So,
oh, wow. Okay, so it's amazing, because when you go out there, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area. It's out there off of 71.
Yeah, it's 6347 Young Road.
Okay.
It's in Grove City, Ohio.
Okay.
And we definitely, we stress the importance of appearance at the training academy and at the shooting range.
All right,
So,
right. And appearance on the new recruits coming out, going
Certainly that.
through their process, definitely. So that's great to see. And if people have an opportunity to go out there to really take a look at that, it's an incredible place to see. So at the training academy, what different types of training happen there?
Well, we have our cadet classes, we have in-service training, we do all the training for the civilian staff, we have numerous times we have seminars and training that involve people from outside our agency, and of course firearms and subject control and drill instructors.
Okay, so we've got the drill instructors out there now. I got to ask you, because when you see on TV about the training, at police academies, that brings back memories of the police academy show. But tell me, what does the recruit, the new person coming on, what should they expect? Should they expect that drill sergeant in their face? I don't know. Both of you look pretty ominous. So tell me, what should they expect when they come out there?
Well, I'll let Deputy Jackson speak for the subject control, but the two areas that people seem to be most interested in is the drill instructors and our subject control. The drill instructors, they are at a pretty high intensity, and the cadets should be ready for that. The way they instruct is very loud and to the point. So as far as subject control, I'll let Deputy Jackson speak for that.
Well, to touch on the drill instructors, they're there to provide discipline to these new recruits, so it's really militaristic. When you come in, first day, right off the bat, they are in their face yelling, screaming, making them do stuff that they've never done before, just to get them out of their comfort zone, because that's part of law enforcement, getting out of our comfort zone. As far as the subject control stuff, we approximately 70 plus hours of subject control, which is defensive tactics, if anybody didn't know that. We do a broad array of stuff. We go from boxing, we have a grappling tournament, we have multiple scenarios, real life situations, we put them all in. anything from just talking to a suspect or dealing with a person that's out of control all the way to lethal force.
Wow.
So it's a lot of work. It's very difficult. It's very time consuming on our part, but we like what we get out of it. So.
Well, you talk about the subject control and all that, but some people might say, well, these new recruits are just going into the jails. I mean, you don't have to know all of that. What do you say to someone who says, well, boxing and all that you don't have to do that in the jail?
Well, the jail is a very difficult place. It's different. It's a different type of area. So there's a lot of threats that we deal with in the jail, just like out in the real world. They still can have access to weapons. They have access to sneak attacks, ambush attacks. So we have to prepare them in a way that we feel comfortable sending them in the jail, just in case they do have to use any of these subject control tactics that we've taught them.
Yeah, because I imagine that deputies that go into the jail, and even civilians, I mean, they don't have a weapon on them. So I guess the only weapon they have is their presence and maybe how you talk to someone.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's about command presence, just how you verbalize with people. But like you said, all you have is your two hands and your 2 feet. So we have to teach them according to, they don't have any weapons, they don't have a taser, they don't have an OC, they don't have a baton. All they got is their 2 hands to do their job. And sometimes you got to wrestle around with somebody to get them to do what you want them to do. So we have to teach them according to that.
To add to that, we stress the importance of communication. That whether it's verbal or how they present themselves, it's probably the most important thing we have in law enforcement is our ability to communicate. And so that is stressed to them throughout the whole academy. Unfortunately, that doesn't always resolve the problem, and that's when subject control will have to be taught.
Yeah. Well, communication is definitely, I would see, would definitely be a key when you're in the in corrections at the jails, because, like you said, there is no weapons to have. So you've got to be able to, talk your way out of a fight, but also be smart about it. And so it seems like it's the perfect training ground for someone who eventually go out on the patrol to understand how important communication is. So that you guys are training that at the academy, which is a great thing. Well, how long is the training that a new recruit would go through at the training academy?
On average, 10 weeks. That may vary from about a week or so, depending on when we can get them to the state exam. The actual OPATA part of it is only about 4 weeks long. We have about 5 to 6 weeks of our own stuff that we incorporate in the academy. So when we can schedule their final exam for the state, and they take that, and then they'll immediately go to the corrections after that. So. Okay.
So after going through the academy, the initial piece, and then they go to the jail, to work in the jail, and then they have the opportunity to maybe go out into the street. Now, you talked about OPATA. Is that something that when they want to go to the street, that they have to go through the OPATA class going forward, or is this something that we can that is at the training academy, or something that possibly coming up?
Once they've completed their 10 weeks of training, and that's just for corrections, to go into the jail and become a correctional officer, deputy, they get the opportunity throughout their career to make a change, to go out to patrol, to go to detective bureau. But first they have to go through, it's approximately 6 months of PATA training.
Okay.
We are hopefully scheduling an PATA training upcoming in the future. I'll let him talk more about that. But that 6 months of training entails subject control. We're right back to that. Dealing with domestic violence situations, all the way up to firearms, all the way to emergency pursuit driving. So there's a broad array of stuff that you have to go through before you actually get to patrol. But it's definitely worthwhile, and we're looking forward to putting on a class here in the upcoming year.
To add to what Deputy Jackson just said, we certainly intend on holding an OPATA class next year for our people that are already hired, for everybody working in corrections currently. If we do, hopefully we can get that going by the end of the year. We're very busy at the moment, so that
Right.
factors into whether or not we can get this done. We started this back up about 2 years ago. We offered one for the first time in a long time, and it's something that I think we'd like to continue to be able to give them that opportunity. So.
Great, great, because it sounds like, you know, that all of the training is, you know, you talk about communication, you talk about subject control, and it would be great for them to then, when they're coming back, that they're coming back to the same place, and you know the staff and what have you. But I'm sure the amount of training is dependent upon the size of the staff too. You know, so you only have so much staff to be able to do these trainings too, along with all those other things that you mentioned, as far as what comes out of the training academy.
Well, the other benefit too, if we hold an OPATA or Basic Peace Officer Academy, we can put it towards how we can structure it how we want it structured. We have our OPATA stuff, but we can add from our patrol division what to expect.
Right.
We can have instructors from our patrol division come in and teach specifically how we handle situations.
Okay. Okay. No, that's great. So that's a definite plus. So when the recruits are in, what is the most challenging? I mean, you know, we talk about subject control and firearms and what have you. What do you see the recruits kind of struggle with? They says, hey, if you're coming out, you know, to be a deputy, you know, you might want to bone up on this or this. What would you think?
I think communication is a big one. People just don't know how to deal with a suspect or a person that's actually incarcerated that is actually causing them problems. It's really hard to just talk to somebody and get them to understand what you're trying to get across without going hands-on. A lot of these new recruits, they're anxious. They want to grab a hold of somebody right off the bat. That's not how it goes all the time. We try to talk our way out of situations before we go hands-on. So that's the toughest thing, I think, for them to get through their heads is, you know, I got to talk to this person before I do this or that. And it's really difficult to teach that, but we stress it and we try to push it here at the Academy. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're about out of time. So final words. You know, what would you like to say to get people? We've talked to human resources, but now at the Academy, what are you going to tell? What do you tell the new recruit coming out? And then also, you know, is there some things coming up that other agencies can get involved in at the Academy coming up?
For new recruits, I would say just prepare yourself physically and mentally to be challenged at times. As far as future events that we have at the Training Academy, we do have we're hosting in, I believe, September, a seminar for media relations for different agencies that may come out that are interested in that. So.
Excellent. And Deputy Jackson, what do you have to say to those new recruits as you're sitting in their face and yelling at them and all that? What are you going to say to them?
Well, I don't do a lot of yelling, but I try to remain calm, but sometimes you got to. Just prepare yourself, like he said, mentally, physically. Be open-minded to changing the way you do things. People are set in their ways a lot of the time, and coming into that academy, we pretty much force feed you what we want them to do. So it's hard for them to get adjusted to that, but yeah, just be open-minded.
They come around.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much to both of you for being on the program. And I hope that you've learned a little bit more about what's going on at the Training Academy, the Franklin County Sheriff's Office Training Academy, really making a difference for those who are coming on to patrol, but also those who are going into corrections. And if you see one of them, say, hey, you know, and say, I know what you're going through. All right. Well, thank you so much, and we'll be right back. Our sheriff, Dallas Baldwin, having worked with and in the communities of Franklin County during his career, has had the opportunity to see so many ordinary people doing extraordinary things for their community. He developed then the Franklin County Sheriff's Community Star Program. The Sheriff Star Program was developed to give recognition to an unsung hero in the Franklin County community. Each month, a personal certificate of recognition from Sheriff Baldwin will be presented to shine the light on a resident doing extraordinary things, making a positive impact in their community. You are able to nominate your community star by sending the name, contact information, and what your nominee has been doing in the community to me, Napoleon Bell II, through Facebook and also through email at nabell@franklincountyohio.gov. Or just give me a call at 614-525-5006. Sheriff Baldwin began the program January of 2017, and in January he recognized Tiffany Tynes Curry, an incredible educator at Wineland Park Elementary, for receiving the Milken Educator Award. Milken Educator Awards target early to mid-career education professionals for their already impressive achievements, and more significantly, for the promise of what they will accomplish in the future. Now in February, the sheriff recognized Suzanne Killalay of the west side of her commitment to keeping her community free of debris and graffiti. She took it upon herself to personally paint over the unsightly graffiti, once again beautifying her community. Now in March, he recognized Gladys Johnson Curry from Urban Crest. Gladys, an unsung hero, resided in Urban Crest for over 77 years. She had recently celebrated her 100th birthday. She was young at heart, but old school. If you did something wrong, she would tell you about it and would tell the parents if their kids were doing something wrong. Committed her life to the community of Urban Crest. In April, the sheriff recognized Jimmy Justice of Blacklick. Jimmy has a tireless commitment to his community, organizing and communication with multiple block watch groups, organizations, and law enforcement to reduce crime and promote community unity. He sends out monthly notifications of crime trends to several thousand residents and businesses within 2 miles of his residence, keeping them informed. Now in May, the sheriff recognized Janice Ritchie of Whitehall for her ongoing volunteer work with multiple organizations, including the Whitehall VFW, American Legion, FOP, Get Behind the Badge, Keep Whitehall Beautiful, and several faith-based organizations, just to name a few. So in June, Sheriff Baldwin recognized Joey Green of North Columbus. He was previously incarcerated, but has been focused on turning his life around. Since re-entering the community, he did not allow his history to affect his future. Joey overcame employment rejection, and his entrepreneurial spirit started a small business, subsequently helping others start their own. In July, Sheriff Baldwin recognized Yair Lopez Ramirez. Yair is an outstanding young man who has made an impact at Norton Middle School and in his community. Yair is a soft-spoken, humble young man who is respected and loved by his teachers, administrators, and even the fellow students. He volunteered to work at the produce giveaway at the Prairie Township Fire Department, and he eagerly welcomed families who attended the produce giveaway. He also demonstrated tremendous leadership when he approached the families and helped them gather food products. Yair took it upon himself to translate for our Spanish-speaking families. His ability to make others feel comfortable and willingness to give back to his community was greatly noticed. Adults were also impressed with his level of maturity and ability to positively interact with community members. Yair also volunteered as a Spanish translator at the Prairie Township Block Party, where he helped families to better understand the stations at the health fair. He was also highly involved in the Norton Middle School Drama Club, where he held significant roles in the 2 drama productions this year, although Yair will be attending Weston High School in the fall. Yair is an amazing young man who has made a positive impact on his school and his community. So to all of the community stars out there, continue making a difference in your community. We thank you for setting the example. Your commitment does not go unnoticed. So I would like to thank you for watching the Franklin County Sheriff's Connecting with the Community. But be sure to like us on Facebook, and if you want to see something highlighted on the show, be sure to let me know at nabell@franklincountyohio.gov, or just give me a call at 614-525-5006. Have a great week and take care.